All right. I'm gonna give it a sec because the recordings have not been working for this other class, and I know somebody wants to join, so I want to make sure that they can get in. So let's see if that works. Lucky you guys, everything's working like it should. All right, I don't know if it works, but I'm gonna assume now, and we'll try to get this recording going. So let's figure it out. Okay, so the heart is cool. Um, we did the gross anatomy of the heart. Okay. One thing I want to look at today is the conduction system. So let me switch these. So there's green and there's green right there. Is it working? Gross. Can you guys see me or hear me or anything? I don't know. Oh, I didn't scroll. Sorry. I had it small and then I didn't scroll down. Okay. It's working. Right. And you guys can see this right here, right? Cool. All right, so this is a website called Thoracic Cube. I don't even know where they come from. Let's see. It's just like an anatomy thing that exists that you guys can use. It's kind of like I pull a lot of stuff from like Blue Link, which is University of Michigan pathology stuff. So you've seen that before. Thoracic Cube is just a heart specific one. So I'm gonna start here, and then we'll take a look at what Top Hat has to say about it, and then we'll just open up for questions mostly. That's kind of the plan for today. We're mostly through all the hard stuff, there's nothing like crazy that we need to go into. So we'll look at like the gross anatomy, and then we'll look at histology slides. Okay. So if this is the right atrium that we're slicing through, we'll open that up and you can see where the SA node is. Now, the SA node is not like Here's the thing about the nodes in the heart. You can't really see them. You can like feel a little spot and be like, that's probably it. But for the most part, you're not going to be able to like see all that stuff. They're just individual cell, like nervous cells shooting through. So there's not really a lot to like see. One thing you can do is you can section that top part off like this, and you can then like take that if that's like what like laid out, you can like serial section it. So the crista terminalis, that's this area like here, and you can cut, and you don't have to know that, but you can cut through and you can see, instead of being able to see like this is the node, you can see like this is where it starts, this is where it ends. So it's not like and you do that for a lot of stuff, like especially brain stuff. It's coronal sections, and you're just figuring. You don't know really what it looks like in 3D, but you're just kind of like moving through those panes and like picking up on like what it should like kind of looks like. Okay, so that's what we're doing here. So you can see it's like that white yellow spot right here, right here, right here, and then it kind of disappears right there. So that makes sense because it's white and yellow, because it's a nerve, right? So it should be like fatty-ish, right? It's the whole point is to like transmit a signal. Um, so if we cut even more into the atrioventricular system, this is cutting directly through the septum right here. So they're like this was connected at one point, and they're cutting like straight down through the septum. And what that'll give you is kind of a view of like the Purkinje fiber, like the bundle branches and stuff a little bit. But again, it's nerve. It's kind of hard to see. So like this right here, you can see the valves, obviously. Um, and you can see the direction of the fibers, right? So it's somewhere in the middle of these, right? Um, you can stain them, which is helpful. Let me see if there's more gross sounding stuff, right? That's it. You can stain them, which is helpful. So the nerve fibers, depending on the stain that you're using, this looks like it's probably like some sort of pH, but I'm not sure. Sometimes it says wrong. I'm not sure. But you can tell how like this is muscle fiber, this darker stuff that's picking up the stain. This is like the fatty axons of like the nerves. Okay, so you can see how it's not picking up quite as much. Um, this is the nodal artery, so like this is what's supplying the blood supply to it, and then this is probably like the AV node. One thing about histology, if you haven't picked up on this, you're not. It's not always definitive. Like you'll look at stuff and be like, it's most likely that it's this. So there's not like a very clear. There's not always like a very clear like answer, and you kind of have to infer based off like what you think you're looking at and like where you are in it, right? So there's like a fibrous area, and the node kind of sits on top of that, right? So it's like right here, and it sits like next to that fibrous spot. So again, so like when you feel it in a gross setting, you can feel like that hard spot and be like, that's probably the node. So, and again, it's really small. So it's shaped like an oval, and it's 5 to 8 millimeters. Um, it can be portions sometimes depending on like how you're doing it. But it's kind of hard to pick up on that on those nodes, right? The bundle of His. So that arises from the node, right? So if the node's up here, then we kind of can see it starting to poke through right here. This is obviously not all muscle tissue right here. You see how dark it is down here. That picked up the stain, that's muscle tissue. But like these lighter areas, those are nerve, okay? So you can see it kind of perforating a little bit. This is kind of where it starts branching a little bit. So you have your left bundle branch where it comes down this way, and then your right, which is over here. And we're looking more like at the white spot than really the blue spot. So down that way, and down that way on the right. Okay. And again, left bundle branch right here. So you can see that it's a bundle, right? Like there's a bundle of fibers. There's a bunch of them stacked together, which is why it's not picking up the stain as easy. And it's shooting kind of into the individual myofibrils right here. So all of these muscle fibers. So if you kind of section that out, you'll see like again like the left bundle branch, the right bundle branch kind of heading off to the right ventricle. So let's see what else. Ooh, normal variations. That's fine. Sometimes it can loop around, which is cool and not great. Oh, it is a mix sounds background. General science to emergencies. Central fibrous body. Tons about conduction tissue. Oh, that's interesting. Cool. Oh, that's a, yeah. So this one is a picture of a tumor. So you can kind of see it up here in the mediastinum, and the AV node penetrates the central fibrous body. So that little fibrous nodal area, the AV node is pushing into it. That's kind of what you're seeing right here. So that's causing tons of conduction tissue. So it's causing it to like perforate into the fibrous body, which is bad because there's no myocardium there, right? Like there's nothing to stimulate. So if it's growing into that, then there's nothing you can do. This one looks like just a regular section of somebody who died from something else. And you can see it's lobulated, polylobulated. So you can see where like these big sections are coming through right here. So instead of like one bundle, right, it's like branched off and become two bundles. So you might end up having like a left bundle branch might end up being like two left bundle branches because it like splits and then immediately splits, right? That can happen too. So that's an anatomical variation. The position of it, so it's not always textbook. It can be a little higher, a little lower. These C and D. So if this is the top of the septum, right, you can see how it's branching like pretty early. Again, pretty early. And then this is an example of it's much lower. So it's branching here instead, like here. So if it comes down and it's branching here and branching here. So the left one really goes towards the edge and the right one goes kind of through the mouth. Age-related changes, so you can see that as well. So it'll degenerate too. So like your heart just failed, like it just gets worse with age, right? So you can see where that bifurcations. Let's see what are we doing right here. Connection system does being most effective. Yeah, so you can see the nodes kind of like really deteriorating, not really picking up that stain. Same thing right here, and then like down, see it kind of really deteriorating. So adipose tissue infiltration as well. This is weird. There's Jehovah's Witnesses outside my backyard. I don't know what's going on. My dog's might bark. I have no idea what's going on. Please don't knock on the door. Right, later. So adipose tissue is infiltrating the bifurcation of his muscles. So again, things don't just turn into fat, kind of like the thymus, but like adipose, as you grow, like your body will kind of let it infiltrate into like certain like different kinds of tissues, right? So usually those tissues that have more adipose just build up more adipose. So it's not that your heart's turning into fat; it's that fat is infiltrating your heart as you age. So your heart tissue is not keeping up with that, right? Let's see. Fibrosis is another thing that happens with age. So you can see this really thick fibrotic blue part right here. This is Mason's trichrome. This is a type of stain. It picks up blue for fibrosis really well. So they're gonna knock on my door. My dogs are gonna bark in like 2 seconds. So yeah, it picks up blue on the fibrosis. The fibrosis picks up blue really well on the spot right here. All right. What's going on right here? Mild tissue adipose to carrying pacemaker. Yeah. Hemorrhage, secondary resuscitative measures. So you can see how deeply red it is where the AV node is supposed to be. So that's not good. And again, like CPR is great, but like there's certain situations where it did not help, right? We're just making things worse. It's causing a lot of damage. You know, people end up with broken ribs, and if they're 95, like they're probably never going to recover from that. So know your resuscitative status and share that with your family, whoever they are. Go down. All right. Speaking of people who don't believe in blood transfusions, get out of here. No, I'm just kidding. Pathology of the cardiac conduction system. So, sick sinus syndrome. We don't need to know all that. Block. Oh, no pictures for block. Okay. Stop. Go again. So, that's all I got. That's pathology of the heart. It's pretty straightforward. Let's see if pathology guy does anything. Is it pathology or is it histology guy? Hang on. Stop. Go down. Histology guy. Sorry. On the slide box. Go. Bleeding. Oh man, there's a ton of them. They just walked past my window. There's like 6 Jehovah's Witnesses. We got up here. So that's pretty much it for like electroconduction. There's not a ton to know. It's not a very complicated system. It looks pretty textbook normally, and then sometimes it doesn't. So, any questions on histology or gross anatomy of all of that? No, not yet. Email them to me over the weekend, and I will send them right back on Monday. Maybe. I probably won't. I'll be honest. I probably won't answer